Health and Fitness with David Hollywood.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports. dssports.ie.
Hello and welcome to Health and Fitness. It's Courtney Callaghan here. I'm stepping into David Hollywood's shoes this week. So coming up on tonight's show, I'm going to be speaking with Jill Kiernan from Pilates N91 on the benefits of Pilates for people with scoliosis and other conditions. I'll also be speaking with Ian Wheatley, owner of the Sauna Society in Lough Ennel, on how sauna can prevent diseases such as cardiovascular disease. Nutritionist Lucy Luby will also be coming on tonight to speak on the latest Health of the Nation report, speaking about how healthy is the younger generation and is it okay to cut out sugar altogether. But first, David Hollywood isn't leaving us just yet, as he has spoken with John Bennett, founder of Lochborough Running Club for Ban FC.
Yeah, definitely loads to look forward to this year with our 5k Santi Dash. Suppose I should have put in there will run, the 5k Santi Dash. And this year it's a 5k Santi Dash and a 1k family walk in aid of Offaly Hospice and Docus Cancer Support Unit. And it's in Lochborough Discovery Park on Sunday, 8th of December at 11 a.m. Now we're really looking forward to it this year, and we hope we'll get great support for those two great charities who do tremendous work in the Midlands for patients with cancer and support to families and that. Yeah. And we would really like everyone to come out to Bura on that Sunday morning and support this 5k run and 1k family walk. We will have Santa Claus there in his grotto on the Sunday morning to look after all the kids.
Good stuff.
We will also have music on the morning there before the run. And it's everyone registering for the 5k Santa Dash can register on myrunresults.com, and we will take a limited number of registration on the morning of the run.
Okay.
Now, we're also looking forward to the 1k family walk, which was a tremendous success last year, with a lot of families turning up to do the walk with their kids and to see Santa Claus after in the grotto. So hopefully everything will go well on the morning, and that we'll have a good fine morning as well, which will be very important.
Yeah, it always helps in that regard, and you've laid out all of the key components there really well, John. Let's just go back to the venue, the Lochborough Discovery Park. For those who haven't visited it before, or indeed for those who haven't ran there before, tell us about what they'd be experiencing when they take part in the Santa Dash.
Like Lochborough Discovery Park is one of the most beautiful places to run in Ireland. It's all tar macadam track all the way around, and the big thing with this is you haven't to worry about cars or traffic or anything like that on the run. It's all inside in the park, so it's very safe for everyone running, and it's also very safe for the 1k family walk, having to worry about minding their kids from getting hit with cars or anything like that. So hopefully everything will go well, and it's a beautiful place to run, and the 5k run it's a flat run, so anyone going for a PB should have no problem getting a PB on the day.
No problem getting a PB on the day. I can certainly attest to the fact sometimes you produce your own problems in those regards. Tell us, John, from your perspective, your relationship with running. I mean, to be one of the people behind originating and beginning the Lochborough Running Group, how did that come about from your perspective? Obviously, there's that intrinsic connection with Ferban Athletic Club.
Yeah, back in late 2013, I started doing a small bit of running myself, which I hadn't done since my playing football days with Callaghan here. So I started to do a small bit of running myself, and I happened to meet Tom Egan, who was the manager of the Discovery Park back in 2014, and just said to me, I see you doing a bit of running. He says, if you're interested in coming over to the park and starting up a running group there, you can come ahead and try and get it organised, and and if you want it, the park is there for you. So I talked to a few people in the Ferban AC, in particular Paul Buckley, who was a great runner with Ferban AC Club, and we had a chat. So we decided anyway we'd start the running group in January of 2014. And since that, it has gone very well. We have ran 5Ks, 10Ks, and just before COVID there, we were into the 5Ks and half marathons, which we got huge crowds at. And over the last 10 years, Loughborough Running Group for Ban AC, we have raised over 250,000 for charities in Loughborough with our runs.
That's incredible, John.
It's absolutely brilliant. But I suppose it couldn't all take place without a great group in the Loughborough Running Group for Ban AC that helps and supports every day and comes out and runs every Sunday there in Loughborough. And the great support from Board Namona to give us the Discovery Park for our running and for doing our events. And it's a big thank you to them. If it was only for them, we probably wouldn't be out there running at all.
Beyond, John, beyond the 5K Santa Dash coming up on Sunday, the 8th of December, say someone enters into that and they really actually like the atmosphere down in Loughborough, can they get involved with the Loughborough Running Group themselves? Oh yeah,
Loughborough Running Group is open to anyone that wants to run in Loughborough. We usually run every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock in Loughborough. There's a group of us run there every Sunday morning. So anyone that wants to come to Loughborough and do a bit of running, they're totally welcome or very welcome on any Sunday morning to be there at 9 o'clock, and we'll bring them out for a run and that. And I hope to start maybe a couch to 5K sounds too far for beginners, so I might start a couch to 5K this January in Loughborough to get people that wants to do a bit of running or get out and get a bit of fresh air of a Sunday morning. We'll probably start a couch to 3K for new beginners and get them involved in it, because I tell you, out there it's a great place to, clear the head and get out in fresh air of a Sunday morning and forget about all the troubles and just be there and do your run or do your couch to 3K or whatever you're going to do. And it's great for fitness, and it's great for, to clear the mind and all that and forget about everything else for an hour or two of a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky in Loughborough that we have some great runners out here in Loughborough, and they're all very interested in it. But the most important thing, I think, is you have to come out and enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the running and don't enjoy the training, you can get carried away by trying to do too much and trying to get better times in your 5K series or your half marathon or your 10K. But I think if you go out and enjoy the running and you're able to do your 10K or 5K and enjoy it and you're happy after it, that's the most important thing. And times is not always that important. It's just go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I could echo that, and that's really important value to bring to any running group, really, because ultimately the idea of exercise is to make us healthier, and being happier is certainly a huge part of that. Look, this isn't just the 5K Santa Dash, it's the Will Run 5K Santa Dash. Do you know? Do you know, is he going to show up this year? I think he did last year, didn't he?
He did last year, and Will is showing up again this year. That's the word from him anyway. So
the word on the street.
Probably going for a PB this year.
Okay, well, look, we'll have to hold him to that anyway. I know he absolutely had a ball last year, so it's obvious when people do give this place and this space a chance, it gets under your skin. I was out there recently, and it's something totally different as an environment.
Oh, it is totally different. And I'll just give you an example. We have a crowd of women running with us over the last year, and they're really enjoying it out there. So we said to them there, after the Tullamore Half Marathon, they came in to support us in the Tullamore Half Marathon, and they're absolutely brilliant in their group since they started. They have a great banter with them, and like when we run every Sunday morning there, you go back for coffee and have a chat and all that. It's not about all the running either. You have to do a bit of socialising as well. So we have them convinced now that they're going to run the Mullingar Half Marathon next March. So we started training for that a few weeks ago.
Oh, fantastic.
And they're really enjoying it now. And like they said, they'd never run a half marathon over the last year, but now they have it in their heads that they're going to do this half marathon. So we're going to run with them in the half marathon in Mullingar and bring them along, and it'll be no problem to them.
No. And
I'm
you know
absolutely
yourself,
delighted that they're going to do it.
and you know yourself, John, when people start building up the mileage, they start developing the confidence. And I imagine from your perspective, that's just a magic thing to witness, to see someone who would have found 5K intimidating, talking about taking on a half marathon and going for it. That's a special thing to see.
Oh, it's a special thing to see, yeah. And I'm absolutely delighted for them because they're very positive about it now. And that's the most important thing. Once they're positive, we have them up to 15K at the moment. And the way they're running, I think they'll be leaving us lads behind in the half marathon. A couple of years ago, we thought 6 of us here done a 100K run for Offaly Hospice.
My
We
gosh.
done 50K on a Saturday and started off again the next Sunday morning, did another 50K, and we raised 20,000 for Offaly Hospice. Now, just one thing before we finish there, David. I've started fundraising with a friend of mine in Callaghan, Paddy Daly, 35 years ago. And we have raised over 100,000 for charities, local GA clubs, local schools over the last 35 years. And Paddy is stepping down this year as the fundraising because taking a rest and taking a step back from it. And I would like to thank Paddy Daly for all the great help and work that he done with me over the last 35 years. I want to say a special thank you to him.
Well, John, it's people like Paddy that drive the welfare and the health and the wellness of our community. So we'll echo your thanks as well. Look, the Lochbora running group as part of Forban AC has raised just under $250,000 in 10 years, which is
right.
Eternal credit to yourself and everyone else involved. The 5K Santa Dash, Will Faulkner rumoured to be showing up to compete. We'll have to hold him to that. And this is all in aid of Offaly Hospice and Docus Offaly, Sunday the 8th of December. You can sign up on myrunresults.com or there's limited registration on the day and no end of incentive to turn up between the prizes, Santa being in attendance, treats for kids and spot prizes as well. There's loads to look forward to. John Bennett, well done on another Santa Dash out in Lochbora Discovery Park, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us on health and fitness.
Okay, thanks a million.
Next up on Health and Fitness, I'll be chatting with nutritionist Lucy Luby on the latest Health of the Nation report.
Health and fitness.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dssports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Westmeath nutritionist Lucy Luby is joining me on the line now, as the health and well-being of young adults here has declined for the 5th year in a row, we're hearing, as the latest Health of the Nation report carried out by Irish Life is showing half of 16 to 34-year-olds are considered to be poor in health. They're less healthy than older generations and are less active and most likely to smoke and vape. Can I get your opinion on this? What do you think of this? I suppose it's probably topical the whole time, not just now.
Yeah, it's not a good reading, all right. It's quite bleak, but I suppose it's something that I'm not surprised by at all. Really, this has been the trend, I would say, long since before 2019. I see more and more sugar creeping into our foods and our snacks, our day-to-day snacks as life goes on. And I would have noticed this, it was from when my children would have been primary school and under, and it's just got worse. And definitely I think the added sugars in our food are driving this, coupled with a very sedentary lifestyle, and that's primarily driven, I think, by devices and the use of devices and everything becoming more convenient.
The report also shows that the national health score has declined for a 5th consecutive year. Is this worrying? Do you think this is very worrying? Do you think it's showing a serious decline? But over the last few years, this is since 2019, it's decreased every single year. What kind of an impact is this going to have on the younger generations coming up?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, the doctors out there and the consultants out there are saying that they're having younger and younger people presenting with midlife or later midlife and old people diseases that would have been known as older person diseases. So, heart disease, strokes, diabetes as well is becoming a huge thing among the younger generation. Cancers are presenting in people in their 20s more so now than they ever did before. So as far as I know, the study measured not just physical, but it also measured the mental health, the nutritional health of somebody's diet, I think social connection, and I think the other thing they measured was financial health. So I don't want to just focus in on the physical side of things, but obviously, I mean, I run a weight management clinic, and my emphasis is always and has been food education. And for me, I'm appalled day to day with the lack of awareness of food and, the things that are considered as food when there's toxic ingredients being consumed the majority of the time by an awful lot of people, and in particular younger people. That age, you just don't care. You don't want to know. You just want to eat, and you just want to go and meet your friends or do whatever you're doing. So this has really been driven by the food industry. And we're very much following the American food industry model, and their health system is under massive pressure. Our own health system is under massive pressure. And I don't like the direction this is going. It's actually, the more I think about it, the more concerned I become.
And Lucy, going back to what you said there, I think that's a really interesting point, specifically about the food industry. Can I ask you, what's the most common, in your opinion, let's say toxic ingredient that you're finding in foods that are popular nowadays?
Sugar, by far. It's the new cocaine. Everything has sugar in it. Everything. And, initially the sugar was added to products. I suppose it goes back maybe to the 70s era, where people were slimming and, everything was low fat, and the fat in the dairy was seen as unhealthy. So the fat were stripped out, and the food industry said, well, we better put something in to make it taste nice, because it's the fat that gives it the flavour. And sugar was added, and it's just become more and more and more of an additive, a hidden additive now. So they put restrictions then on the amount of sugar that could be added, and then it became artificial sweeteners and different ways, different chemicals that all represented the same effect on the body, basically the rise in glucose. And sugars were started to be called different things and hidden in food products. And we just consume more and more and more and more, and how the body is designed to handle a certain level of sugar, okay? And that sugar will be excreted through your feces. And then any residual sugar, then the body knows how to use it up as energy. But we've got to the point now where we're consuming so much sugar that basically the body can't do that. So the more sugar we eat now, the body is now compensating to store more and more sugar. Okay, so it's creating enzymes now to be able to facilitate the breakdown of all this vast amounts of sugar that we're eating. So the feedback system that we now have has been altered by the amount of sugars that we're consuming through food. So you have young people, and in particular America, but also here in Ireland too, are presenting with fatty liver disease, which would historically have been known as a disease, linked with maybe high alcohol consumption. But now you've got children, in particular in America, but also some children here in Ireland now presenting with fatty liver disease, because they've been fed on a diet of ultra-processed foods from day one, and potentially while the mother was pregnant as well too, unknowingly maybe was eating a diet of high sugar content and not realising it.
Wow, so sugar really is detrimental, I suppose, to our health. And now, Lucy, this is probably an impossible question. Is there any sort of a substitute for sugar that would be more healthy? I know sugar, as you're saying, is in everything, but in terms of sweeteners that go into tea and stuff like that, are they really any better than the sugar itself?
No, they're all just different ways of telling the body that, or telling you that it's not sugar. But really, I suppose to break it down, I think, rather than get overwhelmed and frightened by all this, what can you do? So basically the one thing I would urge everyone to do is to look at your food products, look at the ingredients, never mind anything that's written on the front of the packet of the food. Flip it over and look at the ingredients, okay? And what you're looking for is either a whole food or a healthy food. So a whole food will have one ingredient. So the example I give all my clients is, for example, oats. And you look at the ingredients and it's only oats. That's all that's in that food. That's a whole food. The other healthy food then that you're getting is if it has 5 real ingredients or less. So for example, I give to my clients brown bread. So you have flour, wheaten, salt, bread soda and buttermilk. There's 5 ingredients. But then if you go out to find a brown bread without sugar in it, you're going to be hard pressed, because sugar, when added to bread, extends the shelf life of that bread, but it shortens our life. So you're really only supposed to have 6 teaspoons of sugar. That's what the World Health Organization would recommend in a day. But the majority of younger people in particular, I'd say, are consuming maybe 4 or 5 times that amount every single day. They may look healthy, they may look fit, they may look well, but underneath the damage has been done, because that amount of constant pressure for your body to produce insulin, the hormone that'll regulate your blood glucose. Eventually that insulin won't have the same effect. It's being put under pressure all the time. So you'll become insulin resistant, and that's the start of metabolic disease, really, which is where your own natural metabolism starts to work against you, and you can't break down fat, so you just start storing more and more fats. But also now you're in a position where your body is driving you to eat more and more sugar for energy. So it's a trap, really, that the food industry are setting for us to get us hooked on their products, a bit like the smoking model, to be very honest about it. The more I read up about it, it's like the smoking model. And I can see in years to come, people with chronic obesity and lifelong disease, I can see people going down the route where they will be suing these food companies for the same way the smoking companies were sued years ago, because it was pushed and portrayed as the thing to do.
So there's really, I suppose, no escape for sugar. It's in foods, and it's up to us to look at the ingredients, as you're saying, and go for the more natural or the real ingredients, as you were saying as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And now we have our politicians knocking on our doors and looking for our votes. I'd love to see more of a political will, like they're talking about our shattered health system. And I'm 50 years of age now, and I've heard about this shattered health system all my life. I never remember a time in the news where the health system in Ireland wasn't under pressure. So if there was a real strong will to address the food industry and the wrongs in the food industry, and a lot more support given to Irish local food producers and organic growers in this country.
It would be nice to see, I suppose, a different result from the survey or from the reports next year, hopefully. Lucy, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
No problem at all, joining you anytime, Courtney.
Next up on Health and Fitness, can saunas really prolong your life? Well, I'll be chatting with Ian Wheatley of the Sauna Society to explain how this could be possible.
Health and Fitness
with DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dssports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Joining me on the show now is Ian Wheatley, owner of Sauna Society based in Loughnane, Mullingar. So Ian, for anyone who hasn't visited the location of the Sauna Society, how would you describe it, or can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me on. So we set up down on the banks of Lough Ennell there, just down by Toodenham Park, probably 20 months ago now. It was something. I was living in Australia, and I had gone down to Tasmania, and we went to a place called a floating sauna down there, and I just came out of it and thought, this is amazing. This would work in Ireland. I knew I was going to be moving home soon, and that night kind of started looking into it straight away. Got a wonderful sauna down there. We got Heartwood Saunas, who are based over in Wales. They're really the best in the business. We got the sauna made up. It's a 10-man sauna. We only kind of let 7 in at a go, as most of our sessions are kind of social sessions where you could, you kind of book your slot and you could be in with other people. So just to make sure that you've got plenty of space and you're comfortable there. And essentially you're looking on to the to Lough Ennell. We've also got a stream that comes down to the right-hand side of it there. And for anyone that doesn't want to get into the lake, we've got 2 ice baths down there, and we've got a plunge bucket as well, and a cold shower as well, and changing facilities, and also a fire pit as well to chill out after. The relaxation thing is a huge thing as well. You're looking out onto nature with the fire, with the wood-fired sauna flaring, and it really helps relax and kind of bring you back down to earth, or kind of earth yourself.
100%. I think that's one of the most probably unique things about your place as well, is it's so in touch with nature because it's based at Lough, so people have the full advantage of the lakes there if they want to have a dip and a view of the lakes while they're even in the sauna, which is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do the sauna in Westmeath, and especially Mullingar, because of the wonderful lakes that we have there. Because the experience that I went to was on a lake, I wanted mine to be by a lake, and just really Mullingar and Westmeath in general, the people love the lakes there, and it's great to see. And it's great to see that the County Council are getting more on board with that as well, around trying to bring activities around the lake, which is it's really good to see. We've got the kind of fairy lights down there and all, which makes it quite magical in the evening times. And then at weekends, then we're open the longer hours during the day and the evening.
And Ian, let's talk about some of the benefits of using saunas. Like, to start off, I think it's obvious, as you say, you feel great when you do a session in a sauna. So do you think it would be fair to say, its use is just as good for your mental health, I suppose, as your physical health?
Absolutely. So that is one of the main things that I take out of it. Like, obviously there's a huge amount of physical health benefits that you get from it, but mental health is, I've never gone in to sauna and ice and cold exposure and not felt better for it after. Sometimes it's cold out and you don't want to do it, but you'll always feel better. And I'll challenge anyone to tell me that they went in and felt worse after it. Very similar to doing exercise, which it kind of does mimic a bit. That feel of like runner's high after it. You've got more clarity. You just feel better, and you sleep better that night. So the mental side of things is obviously a big side of it, but there's also huge amount of physical benefits as well.
Would you have people coming in specifically to help reduce their stress, anxiety, depression, I suppose, improve like their overall mood?
Absolutely. So one of the I guess the science behind it is the heat from the sauna. It releases endorphins, which increases your mood. So that your endorphins are your natural feel-good hormones, and it like mimics the kind of runner's high, as I said before. It also reduces cortisol levels, which is the kind of fight or flight hormone. And another thing on top of that, it kind of breeds a community as well. So like, if you're feeling down or lonely, sometimes you can go into the sauna and there'll be a couple of people there that you can chat to. And like, that's what we're seeing all over Ireland now with the increased amount of saunas around. It's a community that's getting together, and I feel like people, and especially it's very like the kind of cold water swimming groups, people travel for it. So like, we get lots of people down in Lough from different parts of the country because they'd been to another sauna and heard about ours, and it's great to see. And they travel down and then they kind of see what Mullingar's got to offer as well. We've got big groups like football teams, rugby teams, lots of different sports groups. Great for recovery. The science around the recovery aspect of it is really, really great. So from the sauna's point of view, it increases the blood flow, so it expands your blood vessels, which delivers more oxygens and nutrients to the muscle and to the body in general, and that aids in the repair process. And it also relaxes your muscle and stiffness as well. So if you've had a really hard session at the gym, like, this is going to relax your muscles and the stiffness. Whereas then once you pair it with the cold exposure, this actually does the opposite. It constricts the blood vessels. So that reduces the blood flow and limits the inflammation and swelling.
Okay, so people would actually come in for pain relief, I suppose, and pain relief in their joints and stuff like that, would they?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So
right.
that's another benefit of it, that especially people with arthritis and stuff like that, it's been proven that it can really help arthritis.
You hear people saying that if you have arthritis, go to a hot country. So it kind of, it's the same thing without the airplane.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And exactly, a little bit cheaper too. But then obviously that's a huge benefit, and that's like, I feel like Ireland's changing as a country. Like, like even from when I left to go to Australia, I came back 5 years later and it was a completely different country. I feel like we've moved on so much from a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you look now, like High Rocks, CrossFit, like High Rocks was on there in Dublin at the weekend, and there's just so many people at it, and there's such a huge interest in it, and with like marathons and half marathons, all that, like I feel like people are really pushing towards this now, and the recovery end of it, that just means that more people need more recovery, and that's what I really want to push with people, to show the benefits of that. It also, like in talking about that, the change of mindset, it's amazing seeing down in Mullingar, we get groups of young lads coming out, like, 20, 21, just to come out to catch up with each other instead of going to the bar like I would have when I was in college. If I was catching up with my friends,
Yeah.
there's no way I would have thought of going to a sauna and catching up. But now that they're a lot more health conscious, which is great. It's great for our future as a country.
Yeah, and it's great that the facilities like the Sauna Society is actually there, especially I suppose in the more kind of rural towns as well, because although Mullingar is a big town, Lough is out in the countryside of it. So it's great that they have that option as well to kind of escape the town, go into the Sauna Society. Like, it's great to have the facilities there to do that nowadays.
Yeah, it is, and it's like we're blessed that that we're so close to Mullingar, obviously a great population, and that we're not that far away from Dublin either. But it is great to be out in the countryside there as well, and you get the benefits of, as you said before, the natural element of it. When you're sitting in the sauna, you can really relax and you feel like you're in nature. The huge point from sauna benefit as well is the cardiovascular health. I think why saunas have become so popular in the last little while, obviously they were always popular in Scandinavian countries, but why they've kind of become so popular in Ireland and the UK. There was a study that was done. It was a 20-year-long study. This was done in Finland. 25 years, sorry.
Right.
And I followed over 2,000 middle-aged men over that 25 years. It's called the Cupio Ischemic Heart Disease Risk Study. So I'm just going to call it the KIHD because that's a mouthful every time I'm saying it. So the KIHD, it found, so it got its results there in kind of 2015, and then there's been multiple studies that have been done on it since. So the main one that like really stands out is this cardiovascular health study. So it found that people who had gone to the sauna 4 to 7 times a week. So let's say 4 times a week because that's where you get the benefit, and then 7 times obviously is better again. But
yeah,
so 4 times a week had a 50% lower risk of dying by a cardiovascular disease. So this is a medical study over a long period of time that could say it. And not only that, but regular sauna users were found to have a 61% lower chance of having a stroke. So I suppose that kind of comes back to the vasodilation of the blood vessels. So
yeah,
with the sauna kind of widening them and then the ice baths contracting them, it's working the blood vessels like you would do when going for a run or going to the gym. And then the other great thing that came from that study is around Alzheimer's. Like my granny suffers from Alzheimer's, and it's just such a horrible disease.
Yeah.
And I will do anything I possibly can not to get it. And looking at that study, there was then in 2016 a study based off those facts found that there was someone that used the sauna 4 to 7 times a week had a 65% reduced chance of getting Alzheimer's.
That's crazy.
That's down to the increased cardiovascular health, reduced inflammation, and the better blood flow to the brain. These are medical studies, whereas before this, I think it would have been people came out feeling great, and that's why they did it. I think now that we've got kind of more medical studies to back it up, it's taken off because of that.
Yeah, I mean, those statistics are crazy. Like, to think that many people could be helped and I suppose possibly saved as well from the cardiovascular disease. I presume then that kind of means you could nearly say longevity of life then, considering those statistics.
Yes.
And something else I was going to ask you, Ian, this could be a cheeky question. What age range of people would you see coming into the sauna?
Yeah, we honestly see everyone. So
Brilliant.
We only allowed people from 16 years old and above come in. That's more from a insurance point of view. I think like in Finland, they do have like kids in the sauna and all that. That's no problem for them. But from an insurance point of view, we don't let anyone under 16 in. But right from above 16, we have people right up to 70s and 80s in there. I think mostly it's people kind of from late 20s to kind of to 50s is what I would say the most. Yeah. But honestly, we have a lot of people. If you go down to Loch Owl there and look at the diving board, like there's lots of people of an older age going in and getting their cold swimming in. So it's just kind of an add-on to that, I suppose. Yeah. The community as well, that's what you want to bring. You don't want people to be excluded. You want people of all ages and all sizes and whatever 100%. To come in and enjoy the sauna and all the benefits and that it gives.
That's great. And I suppose it just goes to prove the benefits and the statistics that we've spoken about. You know, they are helping people or else they wouldn't keep going back to it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Something else I wanted to ask you, how long should people be actually staying in the sauna, Ian?
Yeah, so look, it's completely objective. The main thing that you need to think about is, do you feel comfortable in there? So it's perfectly natural to push yourself a bit, but if you're not feeling comfortable, listen to your body and, get out and have a breather. And it's very similar to the ice bath as well. So I think like Dr. Susanna Soberg, she's a leading voice in kind of sauna and cold water immersion. She recommends 2 to 3 times a week you should look to do the sauna between 10 to 20 minutes and ice exposure between 3 to 5 minutes. So generally what I do is I go in and I do 10 minutes and then I go out into the ice bath and I do as long as I can. That could only be a minute sometimes. That could be 2 minutes another time. It just completely depends on how you're feeling on the day. If you're doing sauna and ice bath, just make sure to rehydrate. It's so important when you're getting rid of those toxins in your body, which, that's another huge benefit of the sauna, the detox. So it gets rid of those bad toxins in the body. You need to replace that with, that's obviously being sweated out, and you need to replace that with water. Yeah, I think like I personally go 10 minutes and then kind of as long as you can do in the ice bath. Once you hit kind of 3 to 5 minutes, that's more than enough in the ice bath. It all depends on the person and there's no right or wrong really.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening. It's been great to chat with you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Next on Health and Fitness, I'll be chatting with Jill Kiernan about the benefits of Pilates and how it can help people suffering with scoliosis.
Health and Fitness
with DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dsports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Joining me now in the show this evening is Jill Kiernan, owner of Pilates N91. Jill, how are you? And thanks for coming on this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Jill, can you start off by telling me a bit about yourself? How did you get into Pilates, or what inspired you maybe to take it on?
Yeah, well, I suppose, Courtney, my background would have always been a sporting background, and I would have been extremely into running in the past, and I still do run also. I would have suffered different injuries, I suppose, from as we get older. Maybe I wasn't stretching as much as I should have been after the runs, or maybe warming up as much as I should have been before the runs. So I was with the physio, and she actually recommended Pilates just for a hip injury, and as a result I began Pilates myself. And I suppose while I was practicing Pilates, I felt the benefits with regards to even a reduced stress level. I learned different ways of breathing. In Pilates we use lateral breathing, and I just, as a byproduct,
noticed, I suppose, even my body was changing. I was getting definition where I hadn't been before, and before that I would have thought Pilates was kind of like a very slow, kind of movement. And then when I actually started practicing Pilates, I suppose I did realise the difficulty of it and the benefits of it, and that was my own introduction to Pilates.
Wow. So then you decided to set up your own studio, which is very inspiring. And can you explain Pilates, like for people who haven't done it before maybe, or don't know what it really entails?
Yeah, well, I suppose Pilates, at the moment I am teaching Reformer. I am mat trained, and I do love the mat Pilates also. But I suppose both mat and Reformer Pilates would be a low impact exercise. They can help build strength, improve your posture, support your mind-body connection. Which I was saying earlier with regards to the breathing, it can help reduce stress. So there's lovely benefits to it that way as well. And then in the mat Pilates, I suppose we would primarily use our own body weight as resistance, whereas during Reformer, we can also add resistance from the Reformer.
Okay, and what's the difference then in Reformer and mat?
Yeah, absolutely. The Reformer actually itself is a machine. And then with the Reformer, we can kind of add load or add resistance. We have they're called springs. And then due to the resistance created by those springs, kind of the repertoire of exercises, I suppose, available to us with the Reformer is greatly increased compared to the mat. You can be provided with far more variety. We can perform like very basic to highly advanced movements in virtually any position on the Reformer. Probably one of the differences, the main difference.
Can we go through a few more of the kind of benefits? Like, why would people do Pilates? What would it help with?
But I suppose there are several benefits. One would be to increase your strength. It will help improve your flexibility. It hugely improves your posture, increases your body awareness. Again, the mind-body connection would be a huge benefit with regards to Pilates, through the breath work, through the connection, through engagement. Like something that I always say in class is, if we're doing arm work, I'd always say we exhale on the effort. I'm always about the breath work, and we're inhaling, we're exhaling as we extend or on the effort. And that mind-body connection, will help you get into kind of the deeper abdominal muscles and deeper muscles within your body. And so I suppose that's a huge thing with Pilates, that kind of that mind-body connection is a real emphasis in Pilates. And then that will also help you reduce your stress levels as well, again, through your breathing and your breath work.
Okay, so it helps the mind, I suppose, then, as you're saying, as well as the body, which is really good. And
yes.
Who would typically do Pilates? Can anyone do it, Jill?
Yeah, absolutely. Pilates can be whether you're 18 or 81, male or female. And I do have a men's only class at the moment, which is extremely popular. I know the men are definitely recognising the benefits of Pilates, especially men, I suppose, with sporting backgrounds who might have picked up injuries over the years, and now they're taking the time to recover or rehab, prehab. So absolutely, it's a great form of strength training. Again, great for your posture, for your flexibility, brilliant for your balance, because as we age, we do lose balance. So it's brilliant for working on your balance, your endurance training. It's designed for everybody, all ages, male or female.
Brilliant. And I want to ask you this as well. Have you any experience of people coming in to do Pilates with scoliosis?
Yeah, absolutely. And for the scoliosis, again, I am a huge fan of the mat, but personally, just for scoliosis, I would actually find the Reformer is great for the scoliosis. I suppose because of the various curves and twists of the spine for people with scoliosis, it can be hard for them sometimes to attain a neutral alignment or even feel how their body is placed, and they may sometimes they may feel like they're out in space, or they might be unsure of how to adjust their bodies. But with the Reformer, it offers a lot of feedback for their body in all ranges of movement. When we utilising the springs, what I was saying earlier, the load, and then we use straps kind of to help exercise the body evenly and address like muscular imbalances that may result from scoliosis. So the tension, again, on the Reformer will also help to lengthen out their spines and relieve any muscular tightness for them.
Which I'm sure then would probably go on to help with posture and kind of elongating the spine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And then the benefits of the benefits of Pilates for people with scoliosis, they go far beyond the Pilates studio. It's about improving movement and reducing associated pain in their everyday life.
And Jill, have you any success stories? Have you any people who you've had come in with scoliosis and it's helped them in a profound way?
Yeah, I suppose anybody who has come into me with scoliosis, their feedback would be that the Pilates has significantly improved their movement, and it allows them again to do their everyday, what they love to do every day, or even if it's just, their day-to-day activities, or even if they may be into some other sport like swimming or running, it will help with their movement across the board. So their feedback has just been that it has greatly improved their movement, their flexibility. Even working through their core strength is going to again help them with everyday activities also.
That's it, I suppose. As you're saying, it's something that will help you for life once it's something I suppose you maintain as well. Specifically with a condition like scoliosis, like it's such a big thing, the spine, and to be able to help maybe ease the pain or ease, muscle or joint pain or anything like that. Like that's going to help you in loads of different aspects of your life, not just the physical aspect. Jill, if anyone wants to get in contact with you or take a Pilates class, how can they reach out to you?
We do have a website. It's called pilatesn91.com, and we're also on Instagram.
Brilliant. So that's where people can get a hold of you. Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
And that brings us to the end of Health and Fitness for this week. Thanks for listening. Joe Cooney's up next with Country Roads.